Welcome to Official History World, where history comes alive. Explore the events, empires, and people that shaped our world. Subscribe and be part of our journey through time.
The Brusilov Offensive, the largest Russian assault during World War I and one of the deadliest in history. At last, the Russians had a capable commander in General Alexei Brusilov, and in this offensive, he inflicted defeat on Austro-Hungarian forces from which their empire never recovered. It came, however, at a heavy price in terms of casualties, and Russia lacked the resources to exploit or repeat the success. On June 4th, 1916, the Battle of Lutsk marks the beginning of the Brusilov Offensive, the largest and the most successful Allied offensive of World War I. When the fortress city of Verdun, France, came under siege by the Germans in February 1916, the French pleaded with the other allies, Britain and Russia, to mount offensives in other areas to force the diversion of German resources and the attention from the struggle at Verdun. While the British plotted the offensive they would launch near the Somme River in early July, the first Russian response came more quickly. A failed offensive in March at Lake Naroks, in which Russian troops were slaughtered en masse by the Germans with no significant effect at Verdun. Still, the Russians plotted another diversionary attack in the northern region of the Eastern Front, near Vilna, which is now Poland. While the Vilna offensive was being planned, General Alexei Brusilov, a 63-year-old former cavalryman and aristocrat, given command of the Southwestern Army. The Russians had divided their army into three major groups: the Northern, Eastern, and the Southwestern. And in March of 1916, he pressed his superiors at a meeting in April that he be allowed to attack as well, although no action was planned for the southwestern section of the front. At the very least, Brusilov reasoned, his attacks would draw troops away from the other area and ensure the success of their offensive in the north. Though he was given the go-ahead, the other Russian generals had little confidence in his strategy. Brusilov's troops began their attacks on the Austro-Hungarian Fourth Army at the city of Lutsk, now in Ukraine, on June 4, 1916, with an impressive bombardment from nearly 2,000 guns along a 200-mile front, stretching from the Pripyat marshes to the Bukovina region to the southwest and the foothills of the Carpathian Mountains. Though the Austrian troops, led by the overconfident Archduke Joseph Ferdinand, outnumbered the Russians 200,000 men against 150,000. The success of the barrage obliterated this advance, along with the Austrian front line, as Brusilov's troops swept forward, taking 26,000 prisoners in one day. And within 2 days, the Russians had broken the Fourth Army, advancing 75 kilometers along a 20-kilometer long front, and effectively ending Joseph Ferdinand's career. Some 130,000 casualties, plus the capture of over 200,000 prisoners, forced the Austrian commander, Conrad von Hotzendorf, to close down an offensive against Italy in the Trentino region, to divert guns and divisions back east. On June 15th, Conrad told his German counterpart, Erich von Falkenhayn, that they were facing the greatest crisis of the war so far, a fact that took Falkenhayn, who was optimistic about an imminent French surrender at Verdun, completely by surprise. Confronted with the Austrian panic against Russia, he was forced to release 4 German divisions from the west, a weakness that allowed a successful French counterattack at Verdun on June 23rd, just 1 day before the preliminary British artillery bombardment began at the Somme. Dubbed the Iron General and respected and beloved by his troops, Brusilov relied on absolute preparedness for battle and on the execution of even the most minute details of his orders. The June 4th attacks began a string of crushing victories against the Austrian army across the southwestern portion of the Eastern Front, forcing Germany to abandon plans for their own 1916 offensive in France in order to bail out their hapless ally, even as they confronted a new British offensive at the Somme in July. By September, Russian resources had begun to run out, however, and the Brusilov offensive reached its limits. It was shut down on September 20th, 1916, having cost the Austro-Hungarian army a staggering total of 1.5 million men including nearly 500,000 taken prisoner and some 25,000 square kilometers of territory. Though turmoil and revolution shattered Russia in 1917, disintegrating its army and leading to its subsequent exit from the war, a fact that caused the success of the Brusilov Offensive to be largely forgotten. The offensive permanently secured more enemy territory than any other Allied offensive on either front. Moreover, a permanently debilitated Austro-Hungarian never again played a significant role in the war. Its army was reduced to holding trenches against the weaker Italians, and Germany was left to fight virtually alone for the final years of World War I.
Premium Forever Love necklace to my beautiful love. Buy this necklace, click my YouTube video description product link, and shop now.